All right, so we're diving into something a little different this time, huh? A deep dive into madness, you could say. We're tackling Far Cry 3 today.
Oh, yeah. Far Cry 3, Promises of Paradise, right? But you arrive, and let's just say, things get a bit more intense than the brochures let on.
Exactly. And our source today, the Wikipedia article, does a great job showing how Far Cry 3 really went from like a typical action game to something that really pushed the boundaries of storytelling in an open world.
Totally agree. It's fascinating.
So to start, we've got Rook Islands, which I gotta say is one of the most gorgeous and detailed settings I've ever explored in a game. I mean, it makes you almost want to book a flight, minus the whole, hostile pirate takeover situation.
Right? Got to watch out for those. And yeah, the setting. It's interesting you say that because I remember back to some of the criticisms of Far Cry 2. Players felt it was, well, too big, too empty, maybe. Rook Islands feels very different.
You're right, it does.
And it seems intentional. It feels like the developers heard those criticisms of Far Cry 2 and really took them to heart. Every little nook and cranny of Rook Islands seems designed to make you want to explore,
Yeah.
like they're rewarding your curiosity,
Yeah.
Every tower you climb, every hidden cave you stumble upon, every outpost you liberate from pirates, there's always something.
Yeah, you're totally right. I can't tell you how many times I completely forgot about the main mission in Far Cry 3. Got totally sucked into just exploring, hunting, scavenging for supplies, even just getting caught in these random firefights between like pirates and what were they called?
The Rock Yacht, I think.
Yes, the Rock Yacht. That's it. It created this incredible sense of immersion, like the island had its own heartbeat.
Absolutely. And that emphasis on giving you, the player, the freedom to choose how you experience the world, it's everywhere. Whether you're like a going guns blazing type of player or prefer a more stealthy strategic approach, Far Cry 3 supports it. They really wanted to give that sense of agency back to the player, and I think that was huge.
Absolutely. And that sense of freedom, that agency, it bleeds into the narrative too, especially with our protagonist, Jason Brody. You start as this like everyday dude thrown into this insane
Yeah.
situation and
Yeah.
watching him transform
Yeah, man. Yeah.
from tourist to, well, something else entirely. It's a hell of a journey.
It really is. And the best part, you're experiencing that transformation firsthand as the player. You know what I mean? You're not just watching Jason learn to survive on this island. You are Jason learning to survive. You're mastering how to craft weapons, how to take down enemies, often in pretty brutal ways. But that's what I find fascinating about Far Cry 3. It makes you really ask yourself, what's the cost of becoming this ultimate survivor?
Man, that's so true. This isn't some feel-good, straightforward hero's journey. The game does not shy away from how messed up things get, how morally gray Jason becomes as he descends into becoming, well, a weapon himself.
Heavy stuff. And you constantly feel that weight on your shoulders as you play. Every kill, every victory, it all pushes Jason further and further down this path, and you wonder if there's any coming back from it. And to bring it back around, the developers have said they were very much inspired by films like Apocalypse Now.
Oh, wow, I can see it.
That whole idea of exploring the mental and emotional toll war takes.
Yeah.
The fine line between hero and monster. Really powerful stuff.
Yeah, you nailed it. And, speaking of monsters, we got to talk about the one and only Voss Montenegro. I mean, this is a villain so iconic. He's practically escaped the confines of the game itself.
He really has.
Even if you've never even touched Far Cry 3, you've probably seen his face plastered on a meme or heard one of his bone-chilling lines quoted somewhere.
He's become a bit of a legend in gaming, for good reason.
Mm.
And what's even more amazing is how his whole portrayal, his character, actually evolved during the development process.
Oh, really?
Yes, in the Wikipedia article. Apparently, Michael Mando, the actor who voices Voss, brought this insane, like, raw, unpredictable energy to his audition. It completely changed how the developers saw the character.
So you're saying Voss wasn't always meant to be this, like, completely captivating, utterly terrifying, scene-stealing psychopath we know him as today?
Exactly.
Wow. That just shows you the power of a talented actor, I guess.
Right. The devs, they saw what Mando was bringing to the table.
Yeah.
That he could be both, like, weirdly charming one minute and absolutely chilling the next. And smart on their part, they just ran with it. And that's how we got one of gaming's most memorable villains.
It's true. He's unforgettable. And, I mean, come on. That definition of insanity speech chills every single time.
Right. Pure gold. Iconic for a reason. Voss's words, his unpredictability, it all lingers in your mind long after the game ends. Like, he embodies the chaos of Rook Islands. That darkness that Jason, our protagonist, is slowly being consumed by.
You know, it's funny you say that about Voss, like embodying the chaos of the island, because that's something I really felt playing through Far Cry 3. There's this underlying sense of unease, but it's weird because it's not just like, oh, this place is scary, stay away. There's this strange beauty to it all, too.
Yeah, you're right. It's this really interesting juxtaposition that the game manages to pull off. You're surviving these horrific situations,
Yeah.
facing down these insane characters, but there's also this like seductive quality to it all. It's like the island itself is almost like a siren song luring you in.
I see what you mean, yeah. And you start to enjoy it. I'm thinking of that scene, man, when Jason takes down his first pirate outpost,
Yes, yeah.
you feel so jacked. Like, yeah, take that, Vise. But at the same time, it's kind of unsettling how good it feels, like how easily Jason slips into that role.
Right. That's what the game does so brilliantly. You get the adrenaline rush, the power fantasy of tearing through this gorgeous open world,
Mm.
but there's always that shadow lurking behind it.
Yeah.
It's like the developers knew exactly what they were doing, how addictive that power fantasy can be, but then they constantly remind you, this is taking a toll on Jason.
Yeah.
He's becoming more and more like the very people he's fighting against.
Totally. And you don't really get a break from that either, do you? You're on this wild ride the whole time, and just when you think you've got things figured out, you got a handle on the madness, bam, that ending hits you. And no spoilers or anything, but let's just say Far Cry 3 is not messing around with easy answers. There's no Hollywood ending here.
For sure. But I think that's what makes it so impactful, right? That it has the guts to tackle these big questions head on. The ending forces you to really confront Jason's journey, the choices he's made, and ultimately what survival even means in this world that's gone completely off the rails. It asks, can you even be a good guy when surrounded by so much darkness? And do you even want to? Man, it's heavy stuff. But that's what elevates Far Cry 3 beyond, like just a fun action game. It's something you think about long after you put the controller down, starts conversation.
Oh, for sure. You're still
Yeah.
debating it years later. That's how you know a game has really left its mark. And going back to the Wikipedia article, what's amazing is how Far Cry 3 didn't just stop at this incredibly layered single-player experience. Exactly. It's like, okay, you want more messed up stuff. Here's co-op multiplayer. Team up with your buddies, shoot some pirates, cause some mayhem. Sounds
Okay.
great on the surface, right?
Until you realize, oh, it's still Far Cry 3.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where things get really interesting, don't they?
Absolutely. Because the co-op, it's not just a reskinned version of the main story. You've got a whole new set of characters to deal with.
Yeah.
Each one more unhinged than the last. It's like the developers are saying, oh, you thought Jason's story was intense?
Good.
Hold my beer.
It's like they knew exactly how to mess with our expectations. I mean, it's brilliant. Even in co-op, you're not getting off easy. Far Cry 3 is gonna... Far Cry 3, you know what I mean?
Right. They could have just, slapped together some forgettable co-op mode and called it a day. But that's not their style, clearly. They wanted players to really explore every dark corner of Rook Islands, even in multiplayer.
It's seriously impressive. And speaking of impressive, and this one really threw me for a loop, but the Wikipedia article mentions something about a Minecraft crossover.
Oh, yeah, the Minecraft thing. It's out there.
I mean, Minecraft, of
Yeah.
all things, the game known for like building stuff and being super chill, in the world of Far Cry 3, how did that even happen?
It does sound kind of crazy when you say it out loud, but honestly, I think it just proves how much of a cultural phenomenon Far Cry 3 became.
Yeah.
You've got this dark, gritty, violent shooter that inspired like a whole custom map and texture pack in one of the biggest games on the planet.
That's wild. I never thought about it like that.
It shows you the reach of this game, how it resonated with players across all these different genres and demographics.
It's like they threw a Molotov cocktail into the punch bowl of expectations.
Yeah.
Who could have predicted that a game like Far Cry 3 would find a home in the bright, blocky world of Minecraft? It's insane and awesome.
Totally. It just goes to show you can't put Far Cry 3 in a box. Whether you were drawn to the exploration, the story, the characters, even the chance to just run around and cause mayhem, it left its mark.
No doubt about it. And that's what's so cool about these deep dives, right? We started with a simple Wikipedia article, but look where we ended up.
Right. It's a rabbit hole.
Total rabbit hole. We talked about the evolution of open worlds, the blurry line between being the hero and becoming the villain, the power of unforgettable antagonists like Voss, obviously. We even ended up in Minecraft somehow.
You never know where you'll end up.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it, right? You dig a little deeper, look beyond the surface, and you find all these fascinating connections.
I love it. So yeah, if you're looking for a game that'll really make you think, question things, maybe even make you a little uncomfortable at times. Far Cry 3 is right there waiting. Just maybe don't book a vacation to Rook Islands anytime soon. You never know what might be lurking out there or what you might discover about yourself along the way.